All right, we're definitely trying something new tonight. It's Saturday. So I figured why not see if we can get this cooking on a couple of different things. All right, we are gonna do it. So we're gonna be live on Instagram, on Facebook, everything else that we normally are. So hi guys, gals, missed you. And you're gonna start to see a lot of social media posts coming out right now. I'm gonna see if this affects the live stream at all so I can see your Instagram comments, hopefully for the first time. We've never done this concurrently to where I've been able to see it. So I just see the viewers right here. And if I can see that we are live, I'm hoping I don't get the echo. And if that's the case, we might be able to get some of your questions off of Instagram instead of just X, LinkedIn, and let's see, we got Facebook and also two YouTubes. So I'm looking at this right now to see if we went, and I think we did. But it's almost time, ladies and gentlemen. I think all of you already know this. We're working nonstop year round to make sure that the events that we have going on, you know about early on, you're prepared for it, you're registered for it. And when the time comes, you have the best experience possible. So I see, let's see, we have Brooke, I see Yolanda, I see Adam, and we see Mark Days. I just saw you in Miami. Great to see you. I also see Emily, as well as we got the king in the house. I like that. And we also have Anthony. Oh my gosh, so many people. I see Mrs. Fong in the Fong party, and it's Steve Yu, and then Scott and Lisa Ramsey. So looks like you are done with your show today. We have some things coming up that are going to be extremely impressive to be able to get on board with. So for those of you who are anywhere interested or remotely close to the fitness or bodybuilding world, if you are not in our circle yet, we want you to be. And we have different ways that you can get involved. So most of you know this at this point. You saw a couple of Facebook and Instagram posts to see the Iron City Posing Clinic is coming up in 2 weeks. So we're exactly 14 days out from that. And what's neat about that, I'll talk to you a little bit about what happened last week, is that will be tour stop number 3. And I was talking to Enrique this morning and realized that that is a much more limited space than the Gold's Gym that we just had, where we could fit a couple of hundred people in. And we're probably going to have to limit this thing. So we are going to limit it to the registrations that register on Eventbrite at this point, because I think we could probably fit a maximum of 50 to 60 people in maybe 4 or 5 booths at the most. And if we have to move the booths out to the outside area, right outside the posing clinic, we can do that. But Brian Way and Iron City Gym, IFBB Pro Amy Lee, that's her home gym. IFBB Pro Chris Darby, one of our posing coaches as well, and Amy, as well as Scott Lightfoot, IFBB Pro. So this is going to be a great posing clinic. If you haven't been to the first 2 yet, well, this is the time that you're going to want to get in. If you have already been to the first 2, this is going to be a great add-on, because we'll have Anna, I think Harvey, a lot of the other posing coaches that you've seen throughout the tour. You will be able to work with them, and they will be able to tell you how you have progressed since the first and the second, if you have been at those 2. And if you just came to the second or the first and you want to jump back in on the 3, that's okay. We're going to have room. We want to keep the ratio low, so that way we can give you more instruction and more help, and you can end up getting better at posing. And we're going to start to wean you off the mirror and get you more stage ready, because I just posted from Daniel Coffeen, this was last week, you will not have a stage or a mirror on stage. So you're going to need to know how it looks, how it feels with your eyes closed, essentially, while you're looking at the judges and the audience smiling. So Anna Carolina, our bikini posing coach, of course, will be joining us as well. And she has been helping behind the scenes, and you're going to see her as more of an active role in getting the chance to help in some social media. And let me go to the other page, and I just want to let you know what I just experienced last week. So we had an event with Grant Cardone, and as most of you know, GrowthCon happened, which is the largest business conference and networking in the world, according to Forbes magazine, and it's one of the best. So there were 140,000 attendees online, and there were about 4,000 to 4,500 in person. And the wrap-up speaker was none other than Arnold Schwarzenegger. And that was probably one of the biggest treats we've had in a very long time. So he talked so many things up as far as his life lessons, his experiences. And this is a guy who really just came from another country and made it big because of his fitness. And he made himself a household name and a brand, and that is what he was originally known for in the United States. So this applies directly to what we are doing and building as far as the Stormtrooper production brand. As I know that a lot of you who have been with us for, 4, 5, even 6 years at this point, it's been incredible to see you growing along with us. And there are a couple of people that really come to mind, like a Scott and Lisa Ramsey, a Tiffany and Lauren McClanahan, which they're a couple from California and came out as we met in another network and has supported ever since I started fitness. And those are people who, not only have we known for 6 years, but almost now 9 or 10 years plus. Enrique Abalume, just go down the list, Cortez, these guys, there's a reason. Morgan Dean, she knew me before I competed. And what was cool about that was back in 2013. So now we're talking about a decade plus. And so there's a reason why when we bring our family together, there's something special that happens at our events. And we want to continue that trend. And as we're expanding these events are getting bigger, they're getting better. And those posing clinics that we do before are a way to get plugged in. So you in the future, if you choose to want to get more involved, we're going to be able to show you what we're looking for, and you're going to get the chance to plug in and see if that's a good fit for you. So I'll tell you what we've got going on. Some of the things we're really doing well at right now is I'm noticing a lot of interest with coaches, and coaches are bringing teams on teams. Isaac Johnson, Todd Bailey, Chris Darby, Aaron Elliott, and Megan Hamilton, and they're bringing their Canadian team. We see Chris Proctor and Paulette Siblis. You see all of these folks from around the world who have done a great job supporting. Chris Alejandro, I did not forget you either. I'm looking on the list. Amy Lee, Scott Lightfoot, I mentioned those guys earlier. Harvey Franks, he's been a big supporter, and he's going for his pro card this year. And you never know, he might step on our stage this year too. That's what I heard the rumor on. That would be really cool to do. You go down the list of trainers, Tony Cadenas, Team Arsenal. And, we've met so many people in gyms that it's really cool to be a part of that expanded family. And I think because we have the great relationship with the coaches and the athletes want to tell other athletes about what we're doing production wise and why they should be doing our shows. We set out from the beginning to run some of the top quality shows. We did not want to skimp on money. We have top level production. And now that we're paying out the $51,000 this year, which has gone up from last year. Last year was only about $35,000. So we've increased the prize pool almost $16,000. Now people want a piece of that, because if you're a pro, if you're an amateur, if you're new, if you're a veteran, it doesn't matter. You can play on an open level playing field or a master's playing field and earn money in those two classes. So for the divisions, we're running the 7 core divisions, as you know: bodybuilding, classic physique. We have women's physique. We also have figure, wellness, bikini, men's physique, as well as wellness. I think I said one or the other. So bikini, wellness, and figure are the 3 main staples for ladies. Classic physique is for men. Women's physique, that sometimes makes when figure girls are a little bit too big, but women's bodybuilding is kind of that in between for women's bodybuilding and figure. And we're going to be paying out those classes, assuming that they make with 5. And we have made every single women's physique the last 3 shows. So we plan to do it again this year with all 3 of the American shows. And it looks like women's physique in Europe is also taking off. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know. But if you have a comment, if you have a question, you can drop them in the comments. I will also be checking the live stream here to make sure that I'm going to be going back and forth on this, because I see a lot of, Chris, I saw you on there, and I see Amy Rucker as well, and Danielle and Gina. I want to give a big shout out to Kyle and Gina Roberts, because they not only have traveled and not competed, They have traveled and competed and brought their team. And now Kyle, it's no secret, is going to be heading up our wheelchair division. And you'll see and notice that he may have had a post just recently talking about that he is going to be stepping back on stage again. And he wants to grow that division. And he specifically asked, hey, if you can carry that division, we will get the word out and we will be carrying that division in October. And that's one of the most inspirational for me, as well as transformation. So we have added these different categories. So that way people have a home and a place to be able to compete, as well as bring extra family in as well. So we have the ADA compliance at that venue. It works out perfectly to debut the wheelchair division. And we want to make sure that we're celebrating all levels of fitness, including kids fitness, including family fitness. That's why we have a kids fitness singles and a kids fitness doubles. And, you know, we've done as young as ages as far as 4 years old doing their 60-second routines. And we've gone up to 15 years old in the kids divisions. And then in the teen divisions, they start from 16 to 19. And we have beginner, which is true novice divisions. We have, or I should say classes at this point. We also have novice, which means it's not their first show, but they're still new. We also have open. We have masters starting at 35 years and up and going to 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80 plus. You know, Mark, I'm going to give Mark Demers a shout out because he's like, hey, what about dropping the 55 division and creating a 50 and a 60s more competitive division? And my thinking was, instead of dropping the 55 division, maybe we need to appeal to more masters so we can build that 55-year-old division in something like men's bodybuilding or classic physique. And so we're going to keep those open at those levels. And then if you do want to compete, if let's just say only 3 show up and then there's maybe 5 in 60s, you want to compete in that as well, we can do that if you're age eligible. And if not, we could just go ahead and drop into the 50s. So there's ways to be able to make that, you know, fun. And we can move around things to make sure that the experience, if you're there to compete, and, you know, just so happens that you only have a few folks show up in your age group and you want more people on stage, we can make that call to be able to compete together while being judged separately. Or if everyone in the division or the class wants to be judged, you know, based on, you know, 50 to 60, we can do that too. So there's different little things that we can do to make sure that we're going to create that and provide that for you, the athlete. I know that really doesn't exist in most organizations, and that's why we're doing what we're doing, is because we want to be able to give something back and do something different, along with the prize money, along with the open and masters overall winners earning a trophy of themselves. Because after you get off stage, Steve with Cloned is going to take a picture in a big ride around tube that has 105 cameras simultaneously taking the picture. And then they're going to build a 3D statue of you to capture your victory, which we're the only organization and competitions who do that. So yeah, we're doing things a little different. You guys have heard this before if you've tuned in. If you're new and never heard it, yes, we are on the cutting edge of this, and we're going to make this extremely exciting. And we're also going to be able to make it different and unique, because we don't want to have you come do just one show. We want you to run the circuit with us. So I had a conversation with an athlete. This gentleman is a professional athlete. And he was like, okay, so I see some more competition coming this year. He goes, I'm a little nervous. And I go, you should be, because you know what? There are going to be better and better bodies that show up. That does not mean that you can't win, because they might show up off. You might show up on. They might show up on. You might show up off a little bit. You can have another chance at redemption, because the way that we stack our shows in July, August, September, and October, it can keep you on that prep or on that point to where you can make those tiny adjustments, because you work so hard to get to where you're going to get. Some of you might use the American Fit Expo July 13th show as a warm-up show. And if that's the case, that's great, fine, dandy. You can do that. This show is going to be one that really makes a lot of noise, and it's really going to make a lot of people upset if they didn't do it. Yes, these are our past winners. We had Jorah Murray in women's physique. We had Esmeralda Vasquez, who won wellness. We had Tyson Brazil, who won men's physique. Brooke McConamoy, who won women's bikini. Jacob Anderson Classic. David Lovelace Open Bodybuilding. So we have all of these different divisions covered, and you'll see July 13th at the George R. Brown, downtown Houston. Hotel is locked in. That is going to be in front of thousands of people. We have partnered with the second largest fit expo in the United States, next to the Los Angeles Fit Expo. And the guys who run the American Fit Expo are very close with the guys at the LA Fit Expo. So where do you think a lot of that crossover comes from? You know, the athletes and guests that are there. A lot of them want to come do the American Fit Expo in Houston because they know the crowds, they know the experience that they're creating. And it's great to meet fans, and it's also great to meet some of your mentors and some of your idols who you've looked up to in this industry. There are going to be hundreds, and it's going to be cool to be able to have that experience because the American Fit Expo has never had a bodybuilding show or a fitness show, and this is going to be the first year it finally happens. So we're extremely, extremely excited to kick off the season that way. Now, let's say you do that show and maybe the outcome isn't where you needed it to be. You can back that up August 17th with the Desert Storm Classic. And yes, all the divisions are going to be offered at all the shows. The only exception is maybe the European show. They might not have kids fitness. And so at the Desert Storm Classic, that'll be at the Phoenix Convention Center, August 17th, the same $13,000 in prize money that we're giving in the Desert Storm Classic, same $13,000 that we're also giving at the Summer Storm Classic. And with that, this is going to be part of the Culture Fit Expo. And for those of you who did that last year, so far I have confirmation that I think 80% to 85% of the athletes who competed in that show are coming back, plus the people who were doing the posing clinic throughout the morning and night show, and everybody who came to watch not knowing that the Desert Storm Classic was there. They have come to me and said, look, I'm committed to you. I'm all in. I want to do this show. I've seen other shows around Arizona, and they're just kind of halfway put together, and this was well put together. I took that as a nice compliment, very flattered for that. And we want to continue to grow that reputation. So the Desert Storm Classic is going to be 4 weeks right after the July show. So if you didn't place, or if you placed top 3 and maybe you didn't win, or if you won and you want to see if you can retain your throne or title, that's a good show to come back up with, because if you do that show and you do the July show, you have now earned rankings and points for the overall trips that we're going to be giving at the end of the year to go to Europe in 2025. So yes, they have started over. The rankings have started over, and the first up is the what? American Fit Expo. The second up is the Culture Fit Expo, Desert Storm Classic. And then what we're going to do is 3 short weeks after that, we will be taking our American squad over to London, England. We will be flying into Heathrow. We will be taking a trip up to Milton Keynes, and Chris Proctor, our partner, we will be running the first ever debuted Storm Classic UK, and we will be giving away at that show as well a unique commemorative championship ring for the overall winners. Now, there are 4 championship rings, and if you happen to win all 4 events, it is a different ring for each event. And to say that you've gotten a chance to compete in Europe, and you brought the American team and you're representing America, and you're getting a chance to compete against other countries, not just England. Oh man, people love that. And I'm talking, we're making all the arrangements for travel here next month. So it's going to be exciting to see exactly how everybody stacks up. There's a lot of what ifs. People are getting nervous and excited at the same time, which is great because I love to hear that. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and top off the year with, of course, our World Championships. And this is going to be the International. And this is going to be also October 13th. It's going to be the 13th of the month. However, this is going to be a Sunday and not a Saturday. Now, this is strategically done for a couple of reasons. Number one, there is a show on October 12th in Dallas, which we didn't want to be in conflict or competition with. And the second thing is our venue because this is going to be a bigger show, we could not secure the venue for Saturday because it's a bar and nightclub. It's the largest bar and nightclub in Houston. And so people were like, okay, if we get in there at 7 a.m., and let's just say we started hypothetically at 8, we would have to be out of there by like 4 p.m. And I do not want to put those constraints on that show because from what I'm gathering, there was so much momentum coming from this year and last year that most likely the show's going to go a little bit into the evening on Sunday already. And we do not want to be kicked out of the venue and not have everyone have their stage time and compete. So Sunday allows also those Saturday athletes who committed to running the show and being in the show can also travel down. And this happened last year with the Iron City Classic, where there was a group from Dallas. They went and did a show up in Dallas, and then they drove down Saturday night after they finished and then competed Sunday at the Iron City Classic, which I thought was extremely cool. And some of them won the show. So we're doing the same thing, and we're putting that on repeat. Plus, it allows our European counterparts who are going to be flying in from overseas to be able to have one extra day of acclimation. As you know, when you travel, your body changes. It holds water. You need to flush the water out. Your circulation changes. You're up in the air 30, 40,000 feet. So you want to make sure and have a level playing field. And that's why the Europeans usually come in a couple of extra days early. And we want to give them that extra day so that way they can come in on point. And so we've made those accommodations to make sure that this year is going to be one that people remember. And it's going to be one that people regret if they wanted to do it, but they chose to give up or they didn't do it for some other reason. Now, with that, there's a couple of little announcements here. The 3rd and the 4th posing clinic are coming up. That's immediately. That's the Iron City Classic, or excuse me, Iron City Gym. And that's going to be April 20th. That's going to be the posing clinic there. And then we're going to cap off the Houston posing clinic at Gold's Gym in Friendswood, Texas. And that is going to be May 18th. And that'll be a little bit of a bigger area for us. Is I think we can fit 200, 250 people in there, which is great because that's really going to kick off the season for most of you. Now, some of you knew that there were some shows that went on today around different parts of Texas. I know that NPC had a show. Branch Warren had his inaugural show for the year this year. And, we want to make sure and build momentum to be able to complement those shows. For those of you who are doing the Phil Heath coming up, for those of you who are doing maybe John Sherman's show, the Muscle Beach in October, there's a lot of different options. The Branch Warren, I think it's in June at the NRG, which we always go to and support Branch. The Labrada, Lee has his, I think, in July. What other shows? The Ronnie Coleman. I think that's back in Houston, or it might have gone back to Dallas. I'm not sure. I got to check those schedules. But we like to go support you if you're doing other shows. So we want to know what shows you're competing in. So I've done a horrible job at the comments, and I'm just realizing that we are literally lagging in comments. So I see Tracy Teitelbaum, Natural Bodybuilding Hall of Famer. He's going to be at the Desert Storm Classic. Let me take a look at the comments over here. And we have so many that I can't even get there. I see Crew Fitness, and I see you as well, Jen. We're going to get your patch. And I see Kyle tuned in as well. So yes, we were talking about you, Kyle. And it's always good to see all of you. So I will check my text after, and I see the little don't ever give me a heart face like that. I see 2 big hearts and then a big smiley face. You're kind of making me mushy here. So okay, got it. Adam Rocha, you will be there as well. I like it. And I see Dr. Brandy Edwards in the building, and Ashley as well. Hello to you, Ashley. Oh my gosh, so many cool people who are joining us right now. But this is the experience that we've talked about. I haven't been as vocal or as present because I feel like if you're on overload, some of you get emails from us, some of you get texts. A lot of the coaches are working really hard, and they're making time to invest and volunteer their time in the posing clinics while they're doing prep for their clients, as well as they have shows that they're going to be doing. What we want to do is we do want to support the Physique Showdown, the NFF Physique Showdown show April 20th as well. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be running from 11 to 2 at the posing clinic in Iron City Gym in Cypress, which is Northwest Houston. And then a group of us are going to be going down to Stafford, Southwest Houston. It's just going to be down the Beltway or 99, one of the two. We're going to figure out which route works best. And we're going to go support NFF and watching the Physique Showdown for the night show. So those are things that we kind of do as a family as well. And if you've never been to a show, that's a great show to go watch. Larry Shaw, Todd Tanner, they do a great job with their federation, as well as also each individual show by making sure the athletes get an incredible experience. So, we're in direct communication as far as what they're doing and what we can do to support them because we run non-tested events. There's a lot of tested athletes or natural athletes who want to come in and do our show because they can do both and double dip. So they can come in and do a non-tested show and there's no penalty. And then they can go do their tested shows and they'll get tested at the tested shows and they can go win there. So the way that our criteria is set up is designed to benefit the best athlete that shows up, not necessarily the biggest or the most muscular. So that does have something to do with conditioning. How do you come in conditioned? How do you come in muscular and balanced? Keep in mind the word balanced, symmetry, proportion, overall look. Those are all little things that are taken into account. Posing presentation. How are you commanding the stage? I mean, if you were to look at the lineup, and by the way, a lot of people who are on stage really don't know this, but they're like, oh, I should have won. Or their coach or their family says, oh, you should have won. Of course they're going to say that because in their eyes, they're looking at you all the time. It's really hard to look at everybody else in an objective manner. And that's why we've taken the politics out of judging is by saying our judging panel is judging on a specific group of criteria that they're trained to do. And our next judging call is going to be next week. And what we do is we specifically go over what we're looking for in each category. So it's crystal clear that all judges and the new judges are going to be training. They're not going to be scoring, but they're going to be doing mock judging. So that way, when their time comes and they're on the table for the first time, they're not a rookie. They're already seasoned. They know what they're looking for. We actually have a mentee and a mentor program, which means if a new judge wants to get involved in judging, we pair them up with a veteran judge. And what they're doing is they're shadowing that judge and seeing how they're scoring and what they're looking for and kind of talking with them throughout to be able to let them know, okay, I see number 4 and number 6, they're similar. You're going to notice number 4 is a little sharper in conditioning. Number 6 has a little bit more muscularity, but you're also going to notice that, their proportion is different and their symmetry is off. So that's why we're going to reward number 4 for number 1, and then number 6 is going to be number 2. They're that close sometimes. It could come down to 1/10 of a point at that point. So it could come down to something very picky. And so that's one of the reasons why our judges are so good is because they're trained to see the things that the normal eye cannot see. And so if you're looking for the most conditioned, a lot of times conditioning helps because it obviously hides a lot of things. That's not the only factor in winning. You'll see most of our athletes winning because they're conditioned, because they came in shape, but they also brought everything else with the package. They brought the muscularity, they brought the symmetry, they brought the proportion. They fit the category. A wellness athlete who has huge, quads, glutes, and hamstrings is probably not going to win bikini. She's going to be more conditioned than the normal bikini athlete. And she's probably maybe one of the better athletes, but that doesn't mean she's going to place well or even place in bikini. So know that each athlete has a certain criteria to look for when they're entering and registering. And there's many times that your coach is going to tell you, hey, you should do this and this just to see. And you can cross over. You can do, for example, figure in wellness or bikini in wellness, because it might be your first time, or you might want to try out to see where your body type fits better. And you're also having access to our head judge. So our head judge will have a call with you and your coach so you can determine that beforehand as well. And so, hi, Frank from Wisconsin. Good to see you, my man. Those are all these things that, most organizations just won't do or don't do. And we want to do those things because it makes the entire experience better. So you take the guesswork out of what you're training for, especially when you're new. You have a lot of things on your checklist. You're overwhelmed. And yes, it's common. So we want to take the guesswork out of it and we want to make it easier and better for you. Now, all that to say, yes, we're getting close. Time is running out. So here's what I'm going to recommend. There's a couple of helpful things here. You'll see all of our Instagram handles, our Twitter or X handles, as well as Facebook. And so you can follow us on there. We stream on all of them. You can look at the website at stormclassicshow.com or stormclassicevents.com. If you are thinking about doing a show, here's the best thing to do. You can go to FitSquid, FIT SQUID.com, fitsquid.com. It has all of our shows listed as well as all the NFF shows listed as well. So it'll give you an idea for when the shows are. And then also you can go look at the registration to see what categories are in each show. And if I missed one, which I have been known to do, I build all of these divisions and classes from scratch. So sometimes I've been known to absolutely miss something or not have something on there. And so I want to make sure that when you go, I had a lady say, hey, my son, my 12-year-old son is going to be doing kids fitness singles. I don't see it. And what happened is there's a category that says, are you a male or female? And then you can click on male, and then it'll bring all the male categories available. Or click on female, it'll bring all the female categories. So some of the shows are set up that way. And some of them are just all the way down. So you can just look and see what is available, and then you can choose from there too. So fitsquid.com, you're going to see the American Fit Expo Summer Storm Classic. You're going to see the Culture Fit Expo Desert Storm Classic, and you're going to see the Storm Classic International for October. All three of those shows are on there. The only show that's not on there is a Storm Classic UK. And for very good reason, because Chris Proctor is technically, that's his show with our organization. And so the registration is going to be different because it's not going to be like 50 to 100 American athletes going to go to that show, of course. It's a handful. I'm paying for 3. And then the extra athletes that are going, yes, I pay for the registration and I pay for their travel. For someone who's wanting to go who didn't earn the trip, they pay for the registration to Chris. They pay for their travel and all that. So we can help book the logistics if you want to go, but you also need to have done a Storm Classic show in the past. That's one of the rules and stipulations, because we know kind of where we're going and what we're doing, and we want to make sure it's a great experience. And it's very, very tough going to another country to compete and not knowing what you're doing. And so that's why Leanne and I went last year for the Miss Fitness Angel show. And that's where 2 other winners earned their spot to come over to the United States for the Storm Classic International. So that's the reason why. And it's important that you have done at least a Storm Classic show. So somebody might do the American Fit Expo show and say, I want to go to Europe. I want to pay my own way. Totally cool. You can do that. Now, I'm going to jump just a little bit ahead here because I want to keep this kind of short. I know. I love talking. That's the problem. The Storm Classic International will be the last show of the year, and that will close the books on the standings. So the 3 shows that count towards standings are the Summer Show, American Fit Expo, Summer Storm Classic, Desert Storm Classic, Culture Fit Expo, and then the Storm Classic International. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pool all of those points together for athletes who did each category or each show. If you did 2 categories, yes, you get double points if you placed top 3 in open, or if you placed top 2 in masters. So keep in mind, if a masters did open and masters in all 3 shows, they're technically getting points for 6 people, or 6 times, I should say. Now, what if there is let's just say there's an athlete that can't do masters because they're not 35. Let's say they're 33 years old. That's a great example, right? Well, they could do, for a guy, they could do men's physique and classic. And if they placed in both, they could earn their points that way. Yes, everything is designed not to be fair. It's designed to reward the great. And you're like, well, I'm not old enough. Well, yeah, people who are 20 are not old enough to go to a bar and drink. We get it. Now, with that being said, some of you might not have a crossover body. So it might not be worth your time to be able to try and do 2 categories if you really fit one and you don't fit the other. However, you could give it a shot. So I'm not encouraging you to do that. I'm just saying, to earn the Europe trip, what we have to do is we have to take a look at and see what athletes are at the top of each division and what divisions are going to be competitive to be able to make that show great. I know Missy McLaughlin was a finalist. Esmeralda Vasquez was a finalist. Gina Roberts was a finalist. Donna Hicks Jones was a finalist as well. David Lovelace was in the mix. Thorne Lewis as well. So go down the list, and we ended up taking 2 men's physique and 1 bikini. Would we like to take figure? Absolutely. Would we like to take a women's physique? Of course we would. Matter of fact, ideally, I would like to take the top in every division and take 7. Now, what would that take? Well, if you guys know, it takes money, right? So the way that we work as a production is we're able to secure partnerships, like for example, Prime Vitality Wellness. Dr. Goal is in San Antonio, and he's going to be coming on the podcast soon. He has partnered up with us. He has one of the most comprehensive wellness companies I've ever seen in my life, and extremely excited to introduce you to him. He'll be at the next posing clinic with his team. He'll have IV bags, vitamin B12 shots, everything that you would need to stay hydrated and healthy. He is also a competitor himself, not only as a doctor, but he competes at some of the highest levels in shows in NPC. So this is going to allow you to take a brief peek into how do you sustain the bodybuilding life, and how do you stay healthy doing it? How do you keep your blood panels normal? How do you keep the energy levels up? How can you go from show to show without going through the roller coasters and the dips? That's what he's going to be talking about. And he's got something for everything. You know, you think about PRP, stem cells, somebody gets injured, what we can do for recovery, what you can do for hydration, what you can do for energy, what you can do for looking good, you know, aesthetically. There's all kinds of things that can happen there. We also have GPS Wealth Management, Cindy Barnett Phillips. She's going to be our wealth advisor. And so we're going to try and bring as many resources to you to make the sport not only one affordable, but also make it profitable. Number two, make it sustainable and healthy. We're also going to bring meal prep companies on. We have PowerFit Meals. We have Pro Meals back. Those are companies that I fully trust and endorse. We've got two suit makers. We've got A Game by Sharon. We've got Suits by Jody. You know, that's important to have for the ladies because we have competition kit for jewelry and heels. You have a lot, ladies, to go get. And we want to give you that one-stop shop to plug in, and you can go meet these folks at the posing clinics and say, I want to get my suit made here. I want to get my heels here, and I want to get my jewelry here. You know, those are the type of things. We have Protein Excellence, which I love because all of their goodies are made with eggs. We've got Pretty Girl Fits, which if you need to get decked out and, you know, and you need apparel, Pretty Girl Fits is growing quickly. And Stephanie's done an incredible job with that. So you'll see a lot of the Instagram posts on there. And I know I'm going to forget a lot of Steve with Cloned. He's going to be our official trophy maker for our Open and Masters overall winners. We've got, let's see, I'm trying to think of like the posing clinics as far as the booths and much more. How's that? Let's just put it that way. As we have our silver partners and our gold and platinum and diamonds, all this, these are people who are investing in us, who are technically investing in you so we can afford to pay out more and we can afford to do better things and give better rewards and awards. Now, the backpacks. Somebody asked me about if they could get backpacks. We had one run of backpacks. We're going to have to order more, but we do have a few left in stock. And if you're going to be at the posing clinic, you can grab those there. That's no problem there. And also, we're going to have some extra goodies, which we're going to finish up that inventory. And I'm going to be working on the metal designs because we're going to do brand new metal designs for the Summer Storm Classic and the Desert Storm Classic. They loved them so much. We're going to bring that one back. They're double-sided. And so we're going to do different ribbons for placings because people loved that. It was extremely cool. So that will be a lot easier to be able to streamline in that. And yes, tiaras, they're coming back, ladies. You will be crowned queen there. And swords. Yeah, you'll have your swords too. Everything that you got. The only thing that we did was we upgraded from the Niels Anderson trophies to the personalized 3D figurines of yourself for your own trophy. So that way you can memorialize the event. Yes. Did we spend more? Of course. Yeah. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Anyway, I wanted to give you that weekend update. I feel like this is Saturday Night Live because they had the weekend update. I don't watch it anymore, but we want to make sure and keep in communication with you. And we're also going to be communicating through email. So if you want to get back on our email list, I know Alondra, I see you in Arizona. She was like, okay, so how do I get all the updates and the emails? Yeah, we're going to be able to get you there. We promise. It's just going to take a little bit to get that built out. And you'll be hearing from us very soon. So guys, gals, we're very excited for what we have for 2024, and we hope you are too. If you have a question, if you need something answered, our goal is to help. And so you can either message us. If you've got my phone number, you can text me. Happy to do that. But man, we're going to have a great 2024. And I'm more excited about this year than all 5 of these past years combined because I know what's about to happen. And you're going to get to be a part of history especially when I've had all these other folks reaching out. There are some things in the mix right now that could make 2025 just a whole nother dimension and a whole nother world. You're going to see a disruption and a shakeup in the bodybuilding industry in these events, and just watch what happens. So hope you guys are along for the ride. We want to lock arms with you. We also would love it. Tag us, repost anything that we have. We will repost you if you tag Storm Classic Show, Summer Storm Classic, Desert Storm Classic, Stormtrooper Productions, Matt Storm Official. You're probably wondering why I'm reposting all of these people who keep posting. Very simple. It's very easy to make you a superstar, and that's what we want to do. So guys, gals, have a great weekend. We will look forward to catching up soon on the next update. Enjoy.